Softball complex for today's matchup, featuring the UConn Huskies and Georgetown. It's now time to meet today's starting lineups. First, for the Huskies, batting first at center field, number 12, Caitlin Sibling. Batting second at second base, number 15, Savannah Ring. Batting third at shortstop, number 8, Kat Pettis. Batting fourth at first base, number 22, Haley Kubal. Batting fifth at left field, number 11, Caitlin Breslin. Batting sixth, the designated player, number 6, Ava Calciano. Batting seventh at right field, number 31, Emma Willers. Batting eighth at third base, number 19, Kaylee DeMeo. Batting ninth at catcher, number 00, number 20, Heidi Barber. Batting ninth, at pitcher, number 9, Patrice Palmer. Assistant coaches are Sydney Fleming, Cassell Juarez Presley, and Mackenzie Keys. The head coach of the UConn in her 7th season is Laura Valentino. Starting lineups. Batting first at left field, number 14, Gabby Moore. Batting second at shortstop, number 3, Taylor Francis. Batting third at second base, number 23, Barrett Rubhan. Batting fourth at first base, number 8, Emily Stridmatter. Batting fifth at catcher, number 17, Gabby Johnson. Batting sixth at right field, number 4, Danny Wu. Batting seventh at center field, number 12, Claire Turner. Batting eighth, the designated player, number 10, Abby Busso. Batting ninth at third base, number 19, Nina Sarlo. And at pitcher, number 15, Catherine Larson. The head coach of your Georgetown softball team is Carla Ross. At this time, we ask that you please join our players and coaches as we honor America, its freedom, and those who protect it both home and abroad with the playing of our national anthem.
What on earth, folks? It's the month of May. How quickly time flies. It feels like this season just started in the month of February. Some cold days since, some beautiful days since we've worked our way to the start of May, and the final season, or in the final series of this year, Georgetown and UConn going at it here in Washington, D.C., here at the home of George Washington University on the Mount Vernon campus. The home this season for Georgetown University. Now, Catherine Larson starting inside the circle for the Georgetown Hoyas. First batter is Caitlin Kibling, the center fielder for UConn, a team who are sitting 25-25 this season, 15-6 in conference play. And they've done such a good job after their slow start to begin the season, getting back to their winning ways, as that is ball given from Larson towards Caitlin Kibling, the leadoff batter for the Huskies today. Won the Big East tournament and able to get to the NCAA tournament. Lost a few players in the off-season, but tried to reload and continue with some of the players that were doing their thing last year. Savannah Ring in the middle of all of that. Senior from Ramapo High School. This one ripped fair down the third base line. And that is a hit for Savannah Ring, and the first base runner of the day. Very typical of Savannah Ring. And that second spot, try and get this offense rolling, as now is the shortstop, Kat Pettis, the sophomore from Vestal, New York, has been absolutely tremendous since she's stepped on campus in Storrs, Connecticut. Grounder foul. It started with last season her being named the Big East Freshman of the Year. Just had this relentless plate approach to her game, and what was really impressive was how she then developed the glove after last year, as she waits on one ball, one strike. Now, had a lot of good plays in the infield last year, but that was something that Coach Valentino wanted to focus on in the offseason with Kat Pettis. Once again, another foul ball grounder. Work on the defense a little bit more. It turns into more of a complete player. Well, the defense has excelled this year, has just about cut those errors in half from last year. The 1-2. And swing and a miss. Pettis goes down on strikes. It's the second strikeout given from Catherine Larson. That's 2 away. As Haley Kupal, the first baseman for UConn, now batting with Savannah Ring over at first base. Kupal, the senior from North Attleboro, Massachusetts. Had that double in game one of that series against Creighton that ultimately got UConn that tight, high-scoring win, 12-11. Pitch on the way, grounder at second. Brooke Rebhan takes care of business. UConn leave one stranded. Georgetown half coming up in the bottom of the first. Georgetown get their first crack at the plate. Gabby Park, Taylor Francis, Brooke Rebhan going 1, 2, 3 for the Hoyas. Starting pitcher for UConn is Caprice Bomer, a freshman from Ashburn, Virginia, just down the road at Briar Woods High School. So getting the start near her old stomping grounds, looking to defeat the Georgetown Hoyas. And the first pitch she throws in there to Gabby Park is located where Gabby Park maybe would have wanted it. Next pitch on the way. That moves to 2 balls and no strikes. This Georgetown team this season, 16-23, 9-12 in conference play. Already such a turnaround from last year's conference run. Swing and a miss. This was a team who got swept a lot. They struggled a bit and just really weren't able to get some results, even though there were some decent performances last season. This year now they're at least picking up a win per series. As that moves to another ball. After the amount of sweeps they had last season, there's only been one team who swept them this year, and that was Villanova. And one of the games went to extras. It was 6-5 in game 1 where Georgetown lost. The other 2 were 2-run losses, so they were very much in the mix. But then they followed it up with a sweep of Seton Hall. Otherwise, got one against Butler, got one against Providence as well, got one against Creighton, and trying to get one against UConn. Final series of the year. Hitting the left field, and good range for Caitlin Breslin for the first out. Let's run through the starting lineups for Georgetown. We mentioned Francis batting second. Here she is. Brooke Rebhan batting third. She's at second base. Emily Strittmatter fourth at first. Devin Johnson fifth behind the plate. Danny Koo sixth in right field. Claire Turner seventh in center. Abby Kozo batting eighth. She's the DP. And ninth is Nina Sarlo at third base. Still another game without Nia Campos, the all-time Georgetown leader in home runs. Didn't play against Rutgers, didn't play against Lehigh, and didn't play at all in the Providence series. Well, Taylor Francis now in another spot in this lineup. She has bounced around a bit, as have a lot of other players in this lineup for Coach Ross. It's moved things around. It's helped get some players going. It's helped prove the strengths of a lot of different players this year. And Taylor Francis has been one of those already. Just a really nice opening campaign. And certainly some excitement for what is still yet to come. 2-2 from the pitcher Bomer. Taylor Francis this season, second on the team batting average at .330. And has been in that range for a lot of this season. Base hit in the left field. Francis got enough of it. And so Georgetown have their first base runner of the day. And Brooke Rebhan steps in. He's played a little bit of leadoff hitter this season, but with no Campos, you got to move your best hitter to the third spot. And Rebhan is somebody who can clear it if she needs. That's a strike. Brooke Rebhan hitting .328. It's good for third on the team this year. As somebody who has shown that confidence at the plate in 2026. Ball outside, just missing. Rebhan this season has 4 home runs. And when you think about what she had going on entering this season, she had certainly some success at the plate. After all, she hit .296 last year. But coming into this year, only 2 home runs in her career. 1 in her first year, and then 1 last year. And now this season, the power has jumped up. The average has jumped up. She's basically doubled just about everything she's done. Ball 3, including the doubles. 7 doubles last year, has jumped up to 13 this year, has added 11 hits. And how about this, folks? She has added 19 more runs. Just 10 times she crossed the plate last season. 10. 3-1, hit hard into left and foul. That's pretty good off the bat from this angle, but off it went. And she still has a senior year coming up, Brooke Rebhand, a junior from Miami, Florida. Thinking what she can fine-tune even more, if there is some. Stays at 3-2. Just continues to see the ball well. Her defense has improved too, you feel. There's a lot of ground balls to second that you know are automatic. Now, what a reliable piece she's turned out to be, and well, there could be some potential shouts when it comes to conference nods. And that's ball 4. So Rebhan is in with a walk. First 2 of 3 batters have reached for the Hoyas. That's something that they've done in a few games this season, where they've been able to get some runners on early and add some pressure. They did that to Butler. Now Emily Strittmatter, the first baseman, a right-handed batter's box, who had gotten out of a slump in that Butler series. Ball is just a tad low. Strittmatter hitting .290 this season. Had a total of 2 hits in the Providence series. As break for a moment, it's Caprice Bomer who is chatting with her catcher, Heidi Barber. Those two have had a nice relationship this season. And so Bomer will be given the verdict of what Barber thinks. But Emily Strittmatter has shown the power as well. Did have a home run against Providence. That was game 2. And now one that's towered in the air. Infield fly rule is given. So Kat Pettis, no problem. 2 outs for the catcher, Devin Johnson, who has also had a nice opening season. Yeah, you think about these freshmen for Georgetown and what the future may be for this program. It was the last group that was brought in by Coach Pat Conlon before she stepped away from this program. Taylor Francis, Devin Johnson, Catherine Larson being some of the bigger names of that list, but we have to mention a couple of the other freshmen too this year, as that's a ball outside. It includes Allison Louis, who's slowly gotten a few more bits of action. She's actually warming up in the pen right now. Hannah May Legaspi, a freshman from Broomall, PA, has had a few moments as well. That's a strike. That's what the potential future of Georgetown softball looks like. And if that's the case, might be in some good hands. Pitch on the way. And that's another ball. It's 2-3 balls. Devin Johnson, the catcher. She's also from down the road, Alexandria, Virginia. Attended St. John's College, gorgeous campus as you work your way out of DC. A strike that keeps Johnson in the batter's box. 3-2, 2 outs, 2 runners on here. Francis stands at second for Georgetown. It's Brooke Rebhan at first. She reached on a walk. Bomer trying to get out of this thing. Grounder at short. Oh, Pettis with the great backhand, but throws it a little too far. And a run scores. Francis crosses the plate. The pick had been great. She went to throw it quick, and it was off target. And it gives Georgetown the early lead. So now runners at first and third for the Hoyas. Danny Koo. That's why you run with 2 outs. You never know what's going to happen. Ball 1 to Danny Koo, the right fielder. And Kat Pettis, again, we were just talking about it in her first at-bat. The defense has improved this year. Doesn't mean she's flawless. There still will be a few moments. But you see the pick of the glove. And that's something that is improved for sure. But that is a throwaway that gives Georgetown an early lead, and something that they've had definitely in the month of April. A crazy stat to bring your way in just a moment. I'll give you that in the second inning as this one's bobbled again by Pettis. Runners are safe, second run crosses. And Georgetown have a 2-0 lead. And we'll see what they call on that, if they're gonna call an E6 or not. Now everybody will chat. Coach Valentino comes out to talk with Bomer. It's definitely not entirely the start that UConn would have wanted here. Had a couple of ground balls to shortstop that were not taken care of, and Georgetown on their end have happily taken advantage. Looks like they're still deciding here if that will be a hit or an error. The last one, the throw, was an error, by the way, for those of you scoring at home. And we'll give you a verdict on what they end up signaling on this. Well, either way, it's separated, and Claire Turner steps in. Claire Turner, another player who has been all through this lineup. She's batted leadoff. She's batted in the 9th spot. She's batted in the 7th spot as she has today. And looks at strike 1. Either way, wherever she is in the lineup, there is a threat. Both her at the plate and on the base paths. Pitch on the way, hit into center. This is Kibling, who usually takes a good route to it, and she closes the glove on the inning. Georgetown cross 2, got some help with a few errors. As we head to the second inning, Georgetown ahead at 2-0. Welcome back, everybody. The top of the second inning here on YouTube. I'm Christian Taylor. Happy to have you with us. Georgetown and UConn, game 1 of this final series of the season. And UConn trying to respond as they now trail 2-0 to the Hoyas. Couple of errors from Kat Pettis at shortstop allowed the runs to cross. Kat Pettis, she had not committed an error since mid-April against Providence. It's her first multi-error game of the season. She had a couple of those last season, but had not had one yet this year. So all of last year, she had 15 errors. And this year coming into the game was at 8. Now she's at 10. And it's still been cut down quite a bit. But one that she would like back there at short. It's a tough one to play. Caitlin Breslin, the left fielder, is currently at the plate. We'll go through the rest of this lineup. We'll start back at the top for UConn. Caitlin Kibling, Savannah Ring, Kat Pettis, Haley Koopball. And now Breslin at the plate, the fifth batter. Hit at third, knocked down by Sarlo, and she can't recover. That is the hot corner. It's something she's done a lot of, been able to get her body in front of the ball, but unfortunately this time could not record the out at first. One that she will replay a little bit in her head, even though that was hit awfully hard. And it should go down as a hit. Ava Calciano is the DP. She's batting now in the 6th spot as she stares at strike one. Emma Willers bats 7th. She's in right field. Kaylee DeMeo 8th at third base. And 9th is Heidi Barber behind the plate. I'll jump through the Georgetown defense in a moment. 0-1, foul ball. Defense looks like so. Devin Johnson behind the plate. Emily Strittmatter at first. Brooke Rebhan second. Nina Sarlo third. Taylor Francis at short. Then left to right, Gabby Park, Claire Turner, Danny Koo. Larson's got the 0-2 pitch and forces a chaser outside to Ava Calciano, freshman from Delaware. One of a few players on this team from the state of Delaware, the other being Jessica Walter, one of the pitchers. It's the ball 2. Walter, the transfer in from Providence. One would assume she appears in this series. Just a matter of if she appears today or not. Walter had thrown a complete game against Georgetown last year on the road with Providence. How about the breaker? Getting Calciano to just get her timing wrong. Third strikeout of the day for Katherine Larson. It brings up the right fielder Emma Willers, freshman from Dallas, Texas. So this has been the scenario for UConn this year, as we talked about. This was a team at the start of the season who were trying to find their footing. They lost their first 10 of 12 this year. UConn were 4-15 when Big East play began. Were a little unlucky, unable to get the results on the road in the warmer states. Foul ball. And that was a pretty slow start, certainly after what they had done last year by winning to the NCAA tournament for the first time in 24 years. 35-19, 18-6 in Big East play. Ball is outside, 2-1. Since, though, after the team went 4-15, you're looking at a team now recently who have won 15 of their last 18 games. Oh, quite a change. Foul ball. In that stretch, they've outscored opponents 132-60, and the team is hitting .308 in that time. So you see this team is finding their groove at the right time towards the end of the season. Chopper at first. Strittmatter steps on first, but a foul ball is called anyways. So back to first goes Caitlin Breslin. Patience game from this crew, and Laura Valentino hit it second. Rebhan scoops. 2 second in time. Francis can't relay to first, but it's a really good look to turn 2. 4-6 fielder's choice. 2 away. Kaylee DeMeo, the third baseman for UConn. So, the start of this inning, Caitlin Breslin, who reached base, they're actually going to give her an error. Nina Sarlo It's the one who committed it there at third base. One of those tough ones where it could either been too hot to handle or an error. But they deemed it an error, so already 3 combined errors between the two teams. And we're not 2 minutes in yet today. Two teams who field fairly well. When it comes to the conference, UConn are second best in their fielding percentage at 96%, and Georgetown aren't far behind, also 96. Are separated by about 0.08 of a percentage point. UConn second, Georgetown fifth in the conference. Hit into left field, Gabby Park takes care of business as UConn strand one. Head of the home half of the second, 2-0 for the Hoyas. Second inning of work for Caprice Bomer, the young freshman for UConn who has been just brilliant this year, good enough to where she's the leader on this team in strikeouts, second in the Big East, entered this game with 119. And ball one, first thrown to Abby Kozo, the DP. Well, it is certainly good to see her back out there. She had missed some action this year, but has been able to get back to it in these last few games. Now, the only player who Bomer is behind in this conference is Serafinko over at St. John's, and I mean the strikeout tally from her has been ridiculous. She has basically doubled up Bomer, who is in second spot in this conference. So to give you the exact numbers, I got you, folks, I got you. So, Bomer again leading the team with 119 entering this game today. As a 2-1 count comes in, into left field, and the liner snagged by Breslin. 1 out. Serafinko, 259. Literally has doubled up second place. More than it. Ridiculous season from her. Nina Sarlo, the 9 batter for Georgetown. Foul ball. And she tried to bunt. This is how the defense looks for UConn. Heidi Barber behind the plate. Haley Kupal at first. Savannah Ring second. Kaylee DeMeo at third. Kat Pettis at short. Caitlin Breslin, Caitlin Kibling, Emma Willers, left to right field. Strike. 0-2 to Nina Sarlo, the third baseman. Sophomore out of Little Ferry, New Jersey. And recorded her first ever home run just about a month ago against Seton Hall. Short blooper that was just a little out of the reach of Haley Kupal. Happy you're with us this Friday afternoon. Welcome to May. Fairly nice day, having the sun out for sure. No clouds in the sky, but a little bit of wind blowing out here. Pitch coming. Hit into center. Kibling relaxed and collects the out. Now, you talk about reliable fielders. That is Kibling in a nutshell. Caitlin Kibling has 4 errors her entire career. She's a senior from New York. Her fielding percentage is at .986. That is absolutely ridiculous. Had a perfect fielding percentage last year, not a single error. Committed one this year just to stop that little streak, but that is so hard to do. And center field is a position that is targeted a lot. In fact, just a few weeks ago was featured on SportsCenter's Top 10 Plays. Caitlin Kibling, it was a home run she robbed against Villanova. Hit number 6 on the SportsCenter Top 10 Plays. 1-1. Hit into right field. This is Willers trying to get to it. It's just over her glove as Gabby Park slides into second. You can't look away from the improvement out of number 14, now as a senior. She has been humming around the 300 range this year. Good Providence series for her as she went 4 for 8. Game 1 against Butler, she went 3 for 4. She's had some good performances this year, and it's really been the best of the lot as Taylor Francis is back at the plate. Now, Gabby Park, the senior, in her first season hit .270, so certainly not bad at all, but just 18 games played. Year 2 had arguably been the best of them all. Career high 30 hits, hit about .285, and down for a base hit is Francis. Gabby Park has the green light, and she scores! Taylor Francis with the RBI. 3-0 for Georgetown. Taylor Francis 2 for 2 today. Back for Brooke Rebhan. Well, it doesn't matter how the inning starts out, it's a matter of how you end it. 2 quick outs. And now Park and Francis have made Boehmer think about things a little bit more. Anyways, Park last year had dropped from .288 to .266, and now this year should just about be over 300. Good final campaign. Swing and a miss for Rebhan, who was looking for the fences. 0-2. That's been the common theme about most hitters on this Georgetown team. The confidence growing at the plate. 0-2. Towering left field, carrying towards the warning tracks. Ranging over is Kibling. And that ends the inning. One more run for Georgetown. They lead 3-0, heading to the 3rd. Top of the third for UConn, 9-1-2. Heidi Barber, the catcher, the lone player to not have a plate appearance today so far. Sophomore from Minnesota. After 16 starts in 25 games last year. Looking at a Heidi Barber who is seeing just a little bit more in her back pocket now this season. And she has started 42 of 43. Now for UConn last year, after what they were able to do, they lost some players. Portal and graduation. Moves to 1 and 2 as that just slides outside. Of course, Grace Jenkins, maybe the biggest name. Led the team in batting average. Was the Big East Player of the Year. After the season concluded, she transferred to Arizona. It was a 2 and 2 there. Lexi Hastings, the 2024 Big East Player of the Year, second in program history in hits. She graduated. Ball 3 after starting this count 0-2. Nosy Garcia, all Big East first team selection, who hit .333 last year. And then some pitchers. Hope Jenkins, she was kind of more of a two-way player, but still pitched pretty well. That's ball 4. Barber responding well. Leadoff walk. Jenkins, who transferred to Ole Miss in the offseason, actually had some limited action there with the Rebels this year. Not too many moments. And then, of course, Peyton Kinney, the pitcher, third in program history in strikeouts. So you bring in Bomer, and that really gives you another option out there, doesn't it? Coach Valentino has opted for a pinch runner. As Caitlin Kibling is at the plate and towers it foul. Just out of the range of Gabby Park. She is very, very interested in that one. And just couldn't get to the exact placement of it. Kibling lead off here. She struck out swinging in the first inning. Pitch on the way. Bunt laid down. Or tried to, at least. The pinch runner over at first base is Isabella Lundquist for UConn, the freshman from Sayville, New York. 27th appearance this season, usually been used in a scenario like this. Just one start on the year. But a way for her to get involved, too. On 2-1 the count to Kibling. Senior from New York. Towering into left this time, a little more playable for Park. Closes the glove on the first out here in the third. Next up, Savannah Ring. This is career game number 168 for her. And this has been her best hitting year so far. In her career, if you were to put everything all together, she's been hitting about .271. But this season, as the runner goes, throw to second, it hits her on the helmet, Lundquist. As she gets up, adventures towards third. In she is. Works her way over, forced the issue. And UConn with a runner in scoring position here. Still one out in the third. But Ring this season, .324 batting average, 47 hits. What a year she has put together. Slides out for ball 2. She actually has the lone hit in this game for UConn. Second batter of the game. Now standing close with an opportunity for an RBI, but a tight one for strike one. You see players who sometimes grow into their spots in the lineup. Ring really was good enough to just about secure that on day one. And the confidence still grows out of her, but to have the guts and presence of mind to start a youngster shows how smart Coach Valentino is, but she's been doing that for a whole lot of seasons. Kat Pettis being one of those from last season. Of course, seeing what Caprice Bomer's been able to do inside the circle this year. Savannah Ring was somebody like that a few years ago. As this is hitting the left center field, UConn have their first run of the game. Ring trying to head to second, and she's in there face first. UConn with their first run of the day, cut it to 3-1. Ring now 2 for 2. And has both hits for the Huskies. So time is called. This might be a chat from Coach Ross just to make sure that this does not escalate. This has been the Achilles heel for Georgetown this season. Pitching's actually been fairly good this year. When you compare it to last year, the amount of outs they're getting, the amount of strikeouts, as well as total innings from starters, it's definitely been a lot better in 2026. However, in this month of April, Georgetown have found themselves in a very similar position multiple times, where they've had leads and they have been squandered. In the month of April, Georgetown lost 10 games. Pettis into right field. Taken for Koo. Tagging up, heading to third is Ring. Pettis wasted no time making contact on that, but to third goes Ring. But for Georgetown in this month of April, out of the 10 losses, only one of those games did they never have a lead. That was against Rutgers. 7 of the 10 losses. As this comes in now, the new batter being Haley Kupal sees a strike. 7 of those 10 Georgetown losses, they had a lead in. 2 of them, they were tied. So only one did they never have a lead in the game. Foul ball. So losing games whilst being in winning positions. And it was a variety of different ways, wasn't it? Butler had a couple of massive innings when they were here a few weekends ago. Pitch on the way. It's to 1-2. Some of them were opposition just slowly chipping away at it before Georgetown eventually relinquished the lead. That does include last game, of course. Our last series game, last conference game against Providence, where they had that 7-inning lead, and Providence struck for 4 in the 7th. As there's a swing and a miss on Kupal. She is retired. After the chat from Larson and Ross, she retires this side. UConn down 3-1, so we head to the home half of the third. home half of the third, as Georgetown's lead has shrunk from 3-0 to 3-1 through the RBI double for Savannah Ring, scoring the pinch runner in Isabella Lundquist. And so Emily Strittmatter to start things off after flying to shortstop in the first inning. Infield fly rule is what they had given on that. And ball one, the first delivery. 1-0. Strittmatter takes a look at strike one. Now this was a conference where they used to have 6 teams go to the Big East tournament. At third, just fair, handled nicely. Long throw to Mayo, and the tag by Kupal. 1 out in the bottom of the third. This season in the Big East, it has been now shrunk to 4 teams. So all the teams who are to make the tournament, they are in. This is Devin Johnson, reached on an error last time. UConn being one of those teams who are back in the postseason. But it's a battle for conference supremacy for the regular season. Strike one to Johnson. Providence still sitting at the top at a 17-4 record. Showed you how significant it was that Georgetown had played them pretty well that series. 1-1, pitch on the way, and foul ball into the trees. Second place Creighton, UConn third, Butler fourth. The team that's in the 5 spot, or at least tied for 5, is St. John's and Georgetown, and with 3 games left, the most wins both of those teams could have is 12. Now the top 4 clinched. Oh, another just missing pitch. Moved to 2-2. Which, you know, for Georgetown, they feel a little potentially frustrated about, just in the case of this team has not seen the postseason for a little over 10 years. They got close a few seasons ago where they were just about in a spot, and they got swept to end the season against DePaul to eventually miss out on a spot. But had this been a top 6, more than likely they would have gotten in. But since it's been cut to 4, they will miss here in 2026, but not without some positivity. This has been about as level as the conference has been for a bit, you feel. I mean, Villanova in that last spot, 5-16. Again, they swept Georgetown this year. They've been able to put up a good fight to a lot of opposition this year. 3-2. Swing and a miss. Johnson down on strikes. 2 outs in the third. And when you think about how it looked last season, I mean, more teams were in double figures win-wise. As only 2 were not, but it was the bottom 2 teams of DePaul and Georgetown who had 5 wins combined. Georgetown at 2-22, DePaul at 3-21. This year, both programs have elevated their total amount of wins to where it's a little more flat rate across the board. The same went for 2024. Both Georgetown and DePaul had 4 wins each, and everybody else had at least double-figure wins. This year, it's been a little more straight across the board, where teams have been beating others. Danny Koo sees an 0-2 count. Reached on an error last time, was able to hit in a run that way. Little dribbler, it just stays foul. I just feel again each season the talent level of this conference elevates a little bit more. You are seeing some talented players. 0-2. Chopper again. DeMeo comes to her. Executes perfectly. She gets a couple of ground outs from her glove. We are through 3. Georgetown have the lead at 3-1. Top of the 4th inning, first pitch is hammered into right, and Danny Koo has it under wraps. Caitlin Breslin wasting 0 time and making contact. 1 out quick in the 4th. This is a Georgetown pitching unit that had almost 0 returners from last season. It's almost a completely new unit. And it's a strike from Larson to Ava Calciano, who struck out swinging in the 2nd. Last year's group of pitchers, Avery Wismar, Kayla Dunn, Sage Hager, Julia Parker. Those were the main targets. Francis to first. What a play. 2 outs. It's a young freshman at work there. And Emma Willers, the 7 spot, coming up next. The lone 2 players who had innings pitched last season who are on the team this year and have at least an inning, Emily Collins and Abby Kozo. But between the 2 of them, they had a combined 2 2/3 innings last year. So there really wasn't much, and 4 appearances whatsoever. This year, so Collins came back. She has had very limited action, certainly in the month of April, but started off the season very well. Still the leader in ERA on this team. So she has thrown 59 innings this season, already well above her 1 1/3. Catherine Larson, as the freshman, comes in. This one into center. Turner feeling for the wall. Oh, what a grab by Turner! That is why she's out there. That is why she continues to get it done and keeps UConn off the base paths. Headed to the bottom of the 4th here in DC. Well, folks, the thing about softball is it's so quick that when you have a story or you have something to bring to a game, to a broadcast like yours truly, you have to work on it quick because the inning can end just before you know it. Unlike baseball, you got some time to sit and talk about it, of course. But you got to be on it. And that fly ball to center field for Claire Turner was absolutely magnificent, the way she ranged towards it and caught it. She has not committed an error since 2024. She has 0 errors this season. 59 of 59. And you can just add another one. Popped up, shortstop, Pettis to it. Has it as she falls to the turf. Out one, denying Turner of a hit. What I was going to continue mentioning was about the Georgetown pitching again, how it's almost a new crew this year. Mentioned Larson, mentioned Collins coming back, but Allison Louis, a new face, but Marina Egbert's also been another stellar pitcher who Coach Ross brought in from NYU. And the pitching has been much better this season. Team ERA of 4.15. When the unit last season as a whole was almost at 6. Now, taking 2 points off of an ERA is very significant. Bomer continuing to work well. Bottom of the 4th inning here, 1 out. Riser on Abby Kozo, the designated player. Flew out to left field in the 2nd inning. Kozo batting .266 this season. The time she missed was from the end of March, so March 28th against Villanova. She had made an appearance as she rips this for a base hit into right. And she was on her horse to get to first because she knew that Emma Willers would not be afraid to toss it to first. Still try and retire her. Nina Sarlo. Kozo didn't play again until the Butler series on April 18th, so missed a few weeks. She's back in the lineup as now Naya Campos is not seen some action for the last few games. But for Kozo, since she's come back, if you will, that's her 4th hit. Had one her first game back against Butler, had a hit against Lehigh, and had one last game against Providence. Bunted forward. It was well read. Now covering at first base is Ring, and Sarlo just gets in. It had seemed as if UConn had just gotten it, but Sarlo off to the races. Finds her way to first base safely, and Georgetown are in business again with 1 out in the 4th. It's Gabby Park, who's got a double in this game, came around to score in the 2nd. Such a bang-bang play, that. Nina Sarlo's so quick. And well done by Kozo, too, to get into second base as well. Saw everybody crash for UConn. One that didn't quite elevate off the ground. Gabby Park, senior from Franklin Lakes, New Jersey. Immaculate Heart Academy. Is the finalist for North Jersey Player of the Year in 21-22. 3-time first-team All-League selection as well. Grounder right at first, well handled, and the throw to third is perfect from Kupal. Got the lead runner in Kozo. The smart play to go across the diamond and keep the closest runner at second base for the Hoyas. But it's Taylor Francis who's had a good day so far. 2 for 2. RBI and a run. Couple of singles. And strike one. What an addition she's been. Always got to wonder what the change of pace is when you're going from good high school or travel ball level to Division I. And she's been right on, and this could be another hit, and indeed it falls right in front of Kibling as Georgetown get their 4th run of the game. Taylor Francis is 3 for 3 today. Now that Nina Sarlo bunt put her on base, and she scores nicely from second. Francis does her job. 3 singles today, 2 RBIs, and a run scored. Gets that run back after surrendering it in the top of the 3rd. Brooke Rebhan has reached once today on a walk. Looking for that first RBI of hers for the day. She has 22 this season. Just 3rd best on the team, behind both Campos and Strittmatter. Time is called, as there will be a chat with Bomer. Some slight warming up in the UConn pen. Jessica Walter warming up a bit. Bomer, again this season, this year, innings pitched entering today at about 115. 11-6 record, leads the team there too. She's been one of the go-tos for Coach Valentino this season. And again, pitching not too far from her old stomping grounds in Ashburn, Virginia. And get a result on the road, but so far hasn't entirely gone her way, though she's given some good innings out there. Hit sharply at 3rd, and it continues into left field as a foul ball. Oh, Francis, who was already towards 2nd, and Gabby Park, who is already across home plate. Now they all have to retreat here. 2-1 the count to Rebhan. The bouncer to make it 3-1. They are really making Bomer work. This has been the other thing from opposition this year, I feel, against Georgetown. This Georgetown team has forced longer at bats. They put the ball in play a little bit more. Ball 4, bases loaded again. Once in a while, not all teams, but once in a while you've been seeing a few opposition get kind of startled that all of a sudden this Georgetown team's doing what they're doing. So much different when you're playing off against them as compared to what it's been these last years. This has been just a much better year for this team, and arguably a stepping stone under Coach Ross. You gotta wonder if the change in location has done something for this team. Something that we've talked about a bit this season, but Georgetown used to play their games at the northern side of Washington, D.C., at the Washington Nationals Youth Baseball Academy. Gorgeous facility, by the way, and a facility that this team had used nicely. They had shared it with Howard as well. This year they made a switch. Whilst they did have a game there at the Academy, where Catherine Larson threw a 5-inning no-hitter, by the way, against Drexel. Strike 1 given. Just about every other game has been here, and what a spot this has been. Twofold. Firstly, now, this team does not have to go all the way across town. Now they're just 3 minutes away. Ball 1. So that is much more convenient now for these players, to where now you're done with practice and you're basically back on campus doing your thing. 1-1 on the way. Hit at short. Pettis to first inning. Oh, it's dropped at first. Runs continue to trickle in. 2 for Georgetown. Everybody was off the field. Kupal had looked in her glove and it had squirted out. And Georgetown extend this lead to 6-1. And so Coach Valentino will head over to first base, the first base umpire, to ask if that had been in her glove long enough. May somewhat have a bit of a case. Kupal did have it. There's no question about it. It wasn't as if it just popped out of the glove. It was she had it, maybe in her glove for half a second to a full second before it jumped out. It's a matter of if it was the action of trying to grab the ball out of her glove or not. Any sort of relay, if you will. So all will talk, and they keep things as safe. So 2 more runs for Georgetown. It turns into a 3-run inning on the E3. And those players kept running. Park scored. Francis kept rolling. And Georgetown are in a really good spot here in the bottom of the 4th, with still runners on it. Rebhand's at 3rd, Strip Matters at 1st, with Devin Johnson, the catcher, batting. And some defensive woes that have been hurting the Huskies today. 0-1. Once again, this time up the left side, DeMayo scoops it beautifully. Needed to make the play. Absolutely needed it. Inning is over. Georgetown's lead is 6-1. 5th inning looming here in D.C. Lineup reads 8-9-1 for UConn in the top of the 5th inning. They trail 6-1 here. Georgetown trying to take game 1 of this 3-game series here at the end of the season. Catherine Larson pitching nicely here so far. Worked her way into the 5th inning. Kaylee DeMayo, the batter, who just came up with a splendid play at 3rd to close off the bottom of the 4th inning, a play that needed to be made. And Larson delivers a strike early. We talked about it. UConn are a team who are the 2nd best defensive team in the conference. They do not commit many errors at all. And they have 3 in this game today, and they've all been short to first. However, Pettis, after her back-to-back errors in the 1st inning, she's been very good there. That error belonged to first base. Popped out of the glove of Haley Kupal. UConn also have the 2nd least amount of errors committed. Left field, down for a base hit. Park slides out. DeMayo into 2nd. Well, you see it a lot of times. You make a big defensive play. You come up next offensively, something happens. That's exactly what DeMayo did. Just this grit and fire that she plays with, and has led off the inning well for UConn. And Heidi Barber, the catcher, here in this 5th inning. Walked, came around to score in the 3rd inning. Well, she didn't score, Lundqvist did, but there's a hit into center. And stop sign put up late. Barber towards second, she just sneaks in. Runners at 2nd and 3rd, no outs here in the 5th. UConn coming in hot here. And that forces a conversation again here as the group looks to settle down Larson. The freshman from Massachusetts, 4-time state champ, Catherine Larson. In 2024, she had an ERA of .25. 41 strikeouts was the 2025, then year after, taunted Daily Gazette Softball Player of the Year. Unbelievable stuff that she was able to do up there. And caught a lot of eyes, including Carla Ross. And, of course, Coach Conlon, who was very instrumental in getting her here. In fact, Catherine Larson, first game at their newly renovated field there at Taunton, threw a no-hitter against King Philip. And that was last season. And that was a team who were switching field locations frequently, and they got their newly renovated field. Larson broke it in a good way for her side. 1-2 as Caitlin Kibling, leadoff hitter, trying to get her first hit of the day. Career game 177 for her. 157th start. It was only that freshman season of hers where she started about half of the games. Otherwise, has started almost all of them since. Reliable person to have out there. As cool and calm and collected as they come. Wind up in the pitch from Larson, and it's a hold off by Kibling. 2-2 here. And some trouble that Catherine Larson is in here. Kibling fouls it back. Stays alive. Savannah Ring is on deck. She's been the hot hitter today for the Huskies. How's the lone RBI as well. Pitch for Larson, and Kibling bats it out again. And Georgetown have surrendered some leads this season. Trying to make sure that this does not happen today. Ball 3. What an at-bat this is turning out to be for Kibling. You got a senior going up against the freshman. Senior trying to get the extra hand after starting the day 0 for 2. Pitch comes again. Shallow left, could be trouble. Indeed it is. It drops. Oh, it's past Park. And now Barber can score. UConn are back in business, down 3. The Park is so fast that she just about outran it. And no outs, runner at second. Coach Ross comes out. And we'll talk with Larson. So she came out earlier in this game after Larson had gotten, or at least allowed, a base runner on and settled her down. They got out of the inning. Trying to do something similar here as the meat of the order is due up for UConn. Savannah Ring, Kat Pettis, Haley Kupal, who is looking to get something back after her error, which allowed Georgetown to score 2 more in the bottom of the 4th. This has turned into a lengthy chat here. And a huddle that Coach Ross separates now. So Savannah Ring, 2 for 2 today, has an RBI, single and a double. Before she joined UConn was the 2021 Max Prep's #1 player in New Jersey. Strike, she looks at it. There at Ramapo High School, also selected as the New Jersey Hitter of the Year in 2021. North Jersey Player of the Year that year too. You hear her numbers, she hit .510 as a senior. Some numbers that you see at high schools are ridiculous. That is one of them. Got to hit half of the time. 2-1 for Larson. This has been such good experience for her this year, trying to work out of jams. Something that she can put in her back pocket for the future. But still needs the first out in this inning. And unable to get it there, as that's ball 3 to Savannah Ring. Kat Pettis on deck. She's also looking for some redemption. Ball 4. And she lost her. 4 straight batters reaching for the Huskies. Kat Pettis can tie up the game with a homer. And that is something that she does so well in. She leads the Big East in homers with 17 this year. And this, for UConn, is about as good of a time as any. It's a clear one. See how much Larson wants to even get close to touching the plate with here with Pettis. And gets her to hack at the second offering. Pettis flew out to right field in the third. Struck out swinging in inning #1. Pitch coming again. Another big swing. About the same position that Larson threw the last one at. She might try the same area again. We'll see how she wants to attack Pettis. A sophomore indeed went the same exact spot, 2-2. This is where softball's at its best, isn't it? Where you live and die on every single pitch. Every one of them matters. Tight scenario, no outs in the 5th. Pettis pops it up. This should be Francis. She's got it in foul territory. Big first out, as there are still runners at first and second, but now 1 out in the top of the 5th. Remember, UConn have already scored 2 runs in this inning. 3 straight batters reaching off of advancements to second. Now Haley Kupal, she as well be looking for some redemption. Doesn't have a home run yet this year, but has 25 RBIs. A very good 40 hits. 4th best on the squad. Moves to 1-1. Well, Haley Kupal, really good relationship with her sister, Madeline. They did some things together there in Massachusetts. Hit into left. This looks good for UConn as it bounces to the wall. And the green light on for Ring. She scores. Kupal gets UConn within 1. Another double for the Huskies. And this game is on again, and this will eject Larson from the game Coach Ross allowed her to try and work out of it, but just couldn't quite get there. Marina Egbert will come in as the new pitcher for Georgetown, and we will let her warm up. Take a quick breather as well. This is a 4-run inning for UConn. They trail by now only 1. So the new pitcher for Georgetown is Marina Egbert, looking for an exit route out of this inning. As UConn have struck for 4, they have quickly responded. Runner to third, and she's safe. Kupal able to avoid the tag. Gets a runner even closer now. What a response by this Huskies team. They have woken up since they allowed that 6th run. But this has popped up. Rebhan catches. Potential tag there for Kupal, but money of a throw. Would have been out by a mile had she actually tagged up. It's not out of the realm of possibility. It's something that some players have tried before. Ava Calciano is trying to get her day going. 0 for 2. Strikeout and a ground out. Egbert converts that first out for her. Second out of the inning. They try to keep this Georgetown lead, trying to make sure that another one is not squandered late. As I look to maneuver to the bottom of the 5th. But now with this inning for UConn, that's given them some more time to climb on back here or try and take the lead. 2-0. Obviously, 1 run is way less daunting than 5 runs. That's something you can surmount in just 1 at-bat, as compared to about half of a lineup. 3-0 from Egbert. Ball 4. And with Emma Willers coming up, that means UConn have gotten every batter to the plate. Willers was denied by Claire Turner in the 4th inning. Great play that the senior had in center. Still runners at the corners now. And no throw from Johnson. Into second goes Calciano. Egbert, the grad student from California, going all the way across the country to play her first 4 years at NYU. The Violets at the Division III level. That's 1-1. Transferred into Georgetown here this year for final campaign. 1-1. Foul ball. And a good job that she's done at that. 4.40 ERA for Egbert. This is her 24th appearance, thrown 78 innings. And if it's not just the pitching skill, it's also the veteran mindset she can take with her out there. And she just lost it, but a scoop by Johnson keeps runners where they're at. And this is a spot where you really need her. And Georgetown have mostly been using just about 2 pitchers in this last few weeks. Into right, down for a base hit. Game is tied. UConn trying to take the lead, and they do. Willers into second. It's another lead squandered by Georgetown, and the lead for UConn is now 7-6. It hasn't just been singles either, it's been a lot of doubles. What an inning concocted by the Huskies. 6-run inning. Kaylee DeMayo, she's the one who started it all off. Now how big is her play at third? That bottom of the 4th inning where Georgetown were threatening, she made a diving play to get out of the frame. Leads off with a double herself. And it's all gone haywire from there. Two and 0. First strike given to DeMayo here. Every player for UConn has reached today except for Kat Pettis, who's 0 for 3. Which, if you were to have thrown that out there, that would have been the least likely of suspects to start the day 0 for 3. Three balls, 1 strike. That's a strike, just keeping DeMayo in there. Heidi Barber on deck. Came around to score earlier this inning. Egbert trying to get out of this. Desperate to do so. Pitch comes in, towering into left, carries back, off the top of the wall. Another run for UConn, and DeMayo's got another double. Another time called. Lead is now 8-6 for UConn. The Bats just had nothing going on today. Larson was shutting them down. And this 5th inning has been like no other. This is now just a group huddle for Georgetown. Trying to get this whole crew back together. For these runs have just kept crossing. 4 doubles. Actually make it 5 doubles in this inning for UConn. Heidi Barber, the catcher. Back when she was up in the 5th, and this inning began, little did she know that she'd still get another chance. Multiple sport athlete in high school. Heidi Barber had played 4 years of basketball, had a letter in golf, 2 in football. She indeed played actual tackle football, and it wasn't a kicker or anything like that. It was something that she had played for a long time, starting in elementary school. As Larson throws that in for strike 2. And continued, was a linebacker. It's a tight end as well. And come high school, so that's a foul ball. Continued playing, started on the JV team for at White Bear Lake High. And then was one of the backup quarterbacks for the varsity team. She was one of the quarterbacks in rotation. Wasn't the starter, but she could throw a football well, so she had the great arm strength. But she had been noted by her fellow peers that she was ready to go, firstly, at any moment. It's a ball to make it 2-2. However, even in meetings, training sessions, film sessions, whatever it may be, she was on it. She'd speak up. She knew what she was talking about. And she got some snaps. So that arm talent of hers has carried with her from early playing days. Many sports, including football, and what a tough player to steal on. 3-2. Savannah Ring, who has reached every time today. They got her that time. 2 outs. For Kat Pettis, the lone Husky to not reach today. Strikeout swinging, fly out to right, and a pop out to short. And Pettis trying to extend this 6th inning. 7-run 5th inning has been the difference today. An inning that the Hoyas just could not get out of. 1 ball, no strikes. Sophomore from New York. Pitch coming, and it's fouled back. 1-1. Part of the Big East honor roll for the 2nd time this season. She had 625 in 4 games last week, included 3 doubles, 7 RBIs. Swing and a miss for strike 2. The amount of records, too, if you think back to last year, that she set, along with her Big East first team selection and Freshman of the Year nod, and D1 softball freshman All-American, 2nd team. Set freshman records in batting average, home runs, and RBIs. 2-2, hammered into left, foul. Not by much. Well, there's that power. She didn't look to have swung that hard. 17 homers. A lot of pitchers have been scratching their head on how to get past her. Larson's passed the test each time. Tries to do it there. Shallow into left, and it's perfect placement. And she has her first hit of the day. And now everybody for UConn has reached at some point. So, can extend that a little bit. It's Breslin and Kelsiano, the lone players without hits for UConn today. This is Haley Kupal. The RBI to put them up. Clutch hitting has been her story. It's come up many times this year when this team has needed her. That's why she's there in the 4 spot. Again, average-wise, it's still been pretty good. Kupal hitting .276. Not nearly as high as a few others on this team. But she's given trust in the 4 spot because of how she comes up time and time again. Now, we were mentioning her sister was somebody who she had a tight relationship with, certainly at Bishop Fee and High. Her sister, younger sister now, has joined the Division I ranks. His sister Madeline's now a year one at Boston University. Now, they're not ages away from one another, still in the same realm. 3-0, Kupal looks at a strike. Ball 4. Of course, UConn and Boston University played against one another this year. Haley Kupal did not record a hit. She struck out once, but had 5 putouts defensively. As ball 1 given to Caitlin Breslin, who is also looking for a hit today. Pitch on the way, swing and a miss. That's another strike. Haley Kupal's younger sister Madeline did not play when these two teams met, though, however. But that was a game that Boston University, believe it or not, won 9-1. It's actually a pretty good team over there in the Patriot League. That was back in late March. That was still when UConn were trying to figure a few things out. At that point, UConn were 10-22. And wow, how things have changed. They've only lost 3 games since then. They have found different ways to win. So that's a wild pitch. And this is a little window into what they've been doing this year. They're just working ways through, working themselves into the win column, no matter how good or bad the day has started. Again, still a bit of this game to go. UConn leading. And should have a few more runs. Down it goes. Should be 2. It is. UConn into double figures, 10-6. Breslin with the RBI single. Now Larson was going back to her usual stuff when she was brought back in to start this inning. Back-to-back outs to begin. And then Kat Pettis with her single, bloop single, kept the inning going. And everybody else took advantage. And now it's a much taller hill to climb for Georgetown. How this game has turned. Any of you folks who maybe even stepped away for a few minutes, turn on this score. This is how quick it's changed. 9 runs for UConn in the last 2 innings. It's a turnaround and a half. It's not just a chipping away at it. They've just blown the doors open after Georgetown began this game in a great way. Pinch running at first is Bella Cruz for UConn. Sophomore from North Belmore, New York. Beg your pardon, it is Cruz at the plate. Breslin still in over at first. So she is pinch hitting for Ava Calciano. It was 0 for 2, did have a walk and a run scored. Cruz is batting .195 this year, has appeared in most actually. 15 hits. Swing and a miss. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Pitch on the way from Larson. Moves to 3-2. Again, they've been hanging on with these 2 outs for a few batters now. Can Larson get out of trouble? Foul ball, reaching for it was Cruz. Didn't want to risk anything there. So much more time for Cruz this season after just 5 appearances last year. Her ability to hit the ball far. Top of the 6th inning, still 2 outs. Right in at Willers, who swings at the first pitch she sees. Freshman from Dallas, Texas, Emma Willers. It's a somewhat slower start to her career this season. Didn't get hit until March. Is coming off of a really nice series against Creighton where she had 2 multi-hit games against them. Ended up winning her second Big East Freshman of the Week honor. And you think about the young freshman for Georgetown, but UConn have some exciting young players as well. Have all appeared today. Calciano as well, who started the game as DP. Still 1-2. Caprice Bomer. Isabella Lundquist had a run scored. Emma Willers, who's at the plate now. And a lot of sophomores, too. It's this fascinating mix of freshmen, sophomores, and seniors. There really aren't many juniors on this team. The only true juniors are Kaylee DeMeo and Caitlin Breslin. Grace Carrington is a redshirt sophomore. Reaching for it right at Reb Hand, and the inning is over. 2 more runs for UConn. Their lead is now 10-6. Still not out of the realm for Georgetown, but they're slipping away here. They need some offense in the bottom of the 6th. Bottom of the 6th inning for Georgetown as they trailed 10-6 here to UConn. Trying to get back into things here after UConn scored 9 runs in 2 innings. Gabby Park to try and lead things off here in the 6th. Has scored a couple of runs today, including a really nice double in the 2nd inning, but grounded into her fielder's choice her last time up in the 4th. Still came around to score. Certainly after the misplay at first by Kupal. At that time, Georgetown had gone up 6-1. Looking for a way back here. And you might as well get something here with the top of the order. Walter, the 1-0 count. Pitch on the way. Bunt pulled back. As that moves to a 2-0 count. Again, Georgetown been just so much better this season. Their bats have been, much stronger pitching as well. Just a couple of rare innings that have come to hurt them just a little bit. Again, saw that in the Butler series. It was a series that for the most part Georgetown had played very well and had the good Butler bats in check, but there were a couple big innings that the Bulldogs threw at the Hoyas and just not enough to get the results, as there's a leadoff walk in the 6th inning. And so Pierce, Allie Pierce, the runner at first, redshirt freshman, transferred in from St. Francis, PA. And Gabby Park, this top of the lineup. I'm going to call the re-entering over at first base as Sarlo comes back in for Allie Pierce. So it's a quick little swap there. Again, Gabby Park, as we mentioned, a couple of runs scored today after being on deck. Trying to keep this inning going and keep the line moving against Jessica Walter. Again, we mentioned for Walter pitching at Providence last year, she came on the road to Georgetown and threw a complete game against the Hoyas. Providence team who been able to see some success over the years. And a strike one to Gabby Park. Senior who is coming down towards the end of her career. Again, she's been just an exciting presence for this team. 1-1. That's a ball. Makes it 2-1. One home run in her career was actually against Providence last year. As time is called. They will chat again with Walter out there on the bump. Walter back in here. Pitch on the way. Hit it to left. Got a little bit of carry to it. Breslin tracks it in. And that is the first out of the 6th inning. That brings up Taylor Francis, who's had a really good day today. 3 for 3. That includes a couple of RBIs, couple of runs scored as well. They call her the Pink Mamba. That was a name that was given to her in high school. And there is reasoning behind it. Firstly, her play is very similar to how Kobe Bryant used to play. Just grit, toughness, work ethic, this Mamba mentality. Francis awaits the next offering. Strike one. But then you add in the fact that Taylor Francis would usually wear a pink bow in her hair. Very iconic there at the Pingree School. And so that's the color she was identified with, something that she's always had as a part of her attire, is that color. 2-1, as that pitch just misses. So not necessarily the pink bow, however, she does have some pink stitching in her glove, so there is still some representation there. 2-1. Moves to 2-2. I mean, you think about some of the great nicknames of all time. And the bus for Jerome Bettis, former Pittsburgh Steeler. I mean, I could go on and on, of course. The big unit. Foul ball. Mr. October, Reggie Jackson. But Pink Mamba's a pretty good one. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Walter stares in, pitch on the way. Francis got a piece of it. Continues to work here. Coach Ross appreciating what she's seeing out of the youngster. And how can you not? I mean, she's probably been pretty pleased most of this season out of Taylor Francis. And also jump in as shortstop. Kind of a similar trajectory as Kat Pettis. Oh, Pettis hits a few more home runs. This one, a little blooper right back at Walter. Squeezes the glove on the second out. Kat Pettis has a few more home runs under her belt than Taylor Francis does, but both hitting very well in their first seasons. And both playing shortstop. Now it's Brooke Rebhan who's got a couple of walks today. And Georgetown would still have an opportunity in the bottom of the 7th inning. But here at the top of the lineup, yeah, they'd surely like to take advantage of having some runners on here. A swing of the bat would make things fairly interesting coming in towards the end. Walter's doing such a good job of trying to keep hitters guessing. Seeing Walter attack different areas. And it's made things a little tricky for the Hoyas bats. And they've had some difficulty figuring out Walter. Skied high at second base, and there it is for Ring. So after the leadoff walk, it is the next 3 who are sat down by Walter. We head to the final frame, the 7th inning. UConn's lead is 10-6. Allison Louis will come on to pitch the 7th inning for Georgetown. And it's once again Kaylee DeMeo leading off the inning. Last time she did so, it was UConn where she threw an inning. Of course, there has been no Emily Collins as of late, and again, Georgetown have been kind of running on 2 separate pitchers, 2 different pitchers, and Egbert and Larson for the most part since that, but Allison Louis has kind of been that next option. So she's thrown 4 games, 4 outings in the month of April, seeing games against Creighton, Lehigh, Rutgers, Providence, and those final 3 have been within the last week. And gets another look as Coach Ross slowly gets her involved. She could perhaps be a part of the mix come her sophomore year next season. Freshman from California, Allison Louis, has an unbelievable amount of commitment to this sport. Turned away, and that's a strike. In kindergarten, she received this softball interest form, and she signed it, wanted to get involved, wanted to play the sport. It's tight. It's 3-2. Ended up getting coached by her dad whilst growing up. Her parents showed the support as well. And here she is, pitching at Georgetown, Division I level. 3-2, just exited out of her hand for ball 4. What a day that DeMayo's having. This will go down as one of her best games this season. Back to the quarterback, Heidi Barber, the catcher for this team. Talked about her story. Good jump for her in her appearances too, from being maybe the next catcher in to basically being the starter here in 2026. This adds another nice option at the bottom of the lineup for UConn. It's the breaker just outside for ball 2. In case you're just tuning in, folks, Georgetown had a 6-1 lead heading into the top of the 5th. And for yet another time, Georgetown have let go of a lead. It was 9 runs in 2 innings for UConn. Innings 5 and 6. That included a 7-run 5th inning. One of their bigger outbursts of the season. Now, they've had some crazy opening games to start series this year. Bunt just laid down, and it's foul. Remember the Creighton series? We briefly mentioned the game, but a 12-11 win there in Storrs. Game 1 of the series. They lost by 1 to Providence. Game 1, 7-6. Against Butler, 6-inning game where they put 16 past the Bulldogs, 16-3 win. Against DePaul, another 6-inning win, 11-3. A liner right at Francis. And she didn't have to move too far. It's out 1. Caitlin Kibling back to the top of the order for UConn. So Allison Louis will have to go up against some of the best hitters in this conference. Well, folks, as we also talked about postseason, UConn are in, Georgetown are not. And it will stay that way. UConn trying to defend their title after hitting the postseason last year. And for the first time since the early 2000s. Remember in the NCAA tournament last year, team only participated in 2 games. They played some tough opposition. They lost in 6 innings to Nebraska. They lost 3-0 to LSU to see their season ended. Again, it's double elimination in postseasons. They'd love to go back. Got players on this team who have tasted it and want to get another one. This is going to be a tough postseason. Providence, UConn, 2-1 here. And yet again, the idea of a stolen base not quite coming to fruition. Creighton and Butler, the other teams. That's going to be a fun postseason to watch, and it's something that starts on May 7th. 3-1. Moves to ball 4. As Louis lost Kibling. And the 5th time Kibling's been at the plate today. That's the hot Savannah Ring with her game today. Has a couple of hits. A run scored as well. So 2 walks given up by Allison Louis in this game. In her addition to this game in the top of the 7th. Now this game has certainly slowed down a bit, hasn't it? Georgetown have had some difficulties getting through this UConn lineup. These last innings, really since the 5th, which is crazy for how well Larson had pitched through 4. Only allowed 2 hits in that time. And it just changed. That is how crazy this sport can be. It's how crazy any sport with a bat can be. And honestly, the beauty of it too. You know, when you've got sports that have clocks, which is basically all of them, you're limited in time. You're down by a bit, and if you just don't have enough time, you don't have enough time. This sport technically doesn't matter what the scenario is. There is still a mathematical possibility to get something out of it. You could have 2 outs in the 7th inning, bottom of the 7th inning, and be down by 7, and you could still come back and win the game. I've seen some games, the baseball level, I forgot what level it was. It might have been either D2 or D3, but there was a game where there was a team down earlier this year, about almost double figures in the bottom of the 9th, and they came back and won it. So that's kind of what one can get at here in this sport. It's as long as you have not converted all your outs, there is still a mathematical possibility. 2-2. This is for ball 3. Allison Louis is pitching very carefully to these really good hitters, including Savannah Ring here at the plate. And now time is called again. This will be another conversation, this time with Louis. Again, just to give some words of encouragement to the young freshman. Again, who's got a lot of good stuff, but is slowly coming into her own here. This will end up being a very nice offseason, you feel, for her, as this coaching staff continues to work on her pitching ability. Maybe to iron out a couple of things. This should mostly be a pitching unit that comes back for Georgetown. Really, you lose perhaps Marina Egbert. Otherwise, Collins should be back and potentially healthy. Catherine Larson, who's had a great year. And Allison Louis, and potentially whoever else might be coming in. Georgetown, these last few seasons, have had a knack of bringing in grad student pitchers. Maybe just to add some veteran leadership. We'll see if that's in the conversation for next year. Of course, that's still on the horizon. Maybe not too far, as these coaching groups in today's day and age, with this transfer portal and the transfer rules and NIL and everything, you gotta kind of be on top of it pretty early. As if you don't jump on the player you want, you lose out. Another team's going to grab them. And you think about for the UConn end of things, is that's fouled back for Kat Pettis. Grace Hastings, remember, she transferred to Arizona. That wasn't too long after the season ended. That was towards about the end of the month of May. All of a sudden, she's announced she's going across country. 0-2. Moves to 1-2 here. Still one out. Bases are loaded for UConn. Allison Louis patiently working through these hitters, working through these pitches. Holenfield trying to get lined up as well behind her. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Hits it foul down that left field line. Pettis singled, scored a run in the 6th inning. That's what started up a 2-run extension. Other than that, did not get a hit until that point. 1 for 4 today. You see 10 runs and you feel like she's at the center point of it, which still kind of is with a run of her own. But there's a pop-up and there's an out. It's the 2nd. Just one of those very unique days for one of the best hitters in this conference. Haley Kupal as clutch as they just about come. Bases loaded with 2 outs now. Has a couple of runs to her name today. Louis sends it in for a strike. Well, these UConn hitters have made the Georgetown pitchers work a little bit more too. That's perhaps another part of it. Trying to tire them out a little bit, and it's worked out well. One that just curves away from the strike zone. Bases are loaded. They're all from walks from Allison Louis. It's top of the 7th inning. No hits that she's allowed yet. Haley Kupal trying to change that and put UConn into a much better position. And look out, this is carrying pretty far, and it's just over the fence. Kupal strikes again. Grand slam, 14-6. Kupal has 6 RBIs today. Wow. 3 innings ago. Less than that. 2.5 innings ago. It was 6-1 for Georgetown. 13 unanswered for UConn. This final score may not really be indicative, certainly of how the game started, but it's certainly indicative of these last 3 innings for UConn. And that was the icing on the cake, you feel. It's another one that carries pretty far back, and Claire Turner ends the inning. Haley Kupal, the grand slam, putting UConn in almost win position. And Kupal's first home run of the year. Home half of the 7th next. 7th inning for Georgetown. They need 8. They're down 14-6. For that first home run of the year for Haley Kupal, the grand slam, and 1 out. Emily Strittmatter. Now this has been a theme, not the common theme, but a theme for Georgetown this season. They've actually, again, had a lot of good performances this season. But it's been just a couple innings that they haven't quite gotten right. And it's forced the result away from them. What a much different scenario, though, as compared to last year, where there were just games that this team arguably wasn't even in. Just games where they went down early and they couldn't recover. This year, they've been in basically every game. And signs of them getting a little bit closer to maybe where they want to be. New pitcher for UConn. We'll take a breather. Alexandra Basher will be the new pitcher. And we'll talk about her in just a moment. Alexandra Basher, the pitcher for UConn. Sophomore from Ridgefield, Connecticut. Will come on for these final 2 outs. Goes up against Devin Johnson. And for Basher this season, she rips one right at short. Out number 2 for Basher this season. This is her 15th appearance. She's thrown 22 innings. 1-3 record, 4.77 ERA. Transferred in from North Carolina, where she appeared in just a few games. And it looks like she makes just about easy work. 6-3 ground out to end the game as UConn win with an emphatic 14-6 victory against Georgetown to start off this series. Again, the massive story today was Georgetown had the lead 6-1 heading into the 5th inning. UConn struck for 7 runs in the 5th inning. It gave them the lead, and they never looked back, scored 6 runs after the fact, closed the game off extremely well, capped off with a grand slam from Haley Kupal as well. And UConn continue a really good run as they now go to over 500 this year. Something that looked like a long ways away after starting the year 10-22. They're over 500 now. Conference play 16-6. Georgetown falling to 16-24, 9-13 in conference play. Senior Day, folks, tomorrow. Hope you can join us here on YouTube. Give some honor to the seniors who have worked so hard here in their Hoyas career. Monica Moore will be with you tomorrow at 1 p.m. Shout out to our awesome crew, Tom Manning working behind the scenes. I'm Christian Taylor saying so long. Final score from Washington, D.C. is UConn 14, Georgetown 6. We'll see you next time, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your night.